don't rush to throw away leftover bread. With just 2 eggs and a glass of milk, Mary will turn it into a pan-fried cake that's golden and crispy on the bottom, soft and fragrant inside, with melted cheese on top, so delicious you'll want to make it every week. And trust Mary, this dish is economical, quick, and especially perfect for breakfast or an afternoon snack. Oh, before we start, which country are you watching Mary home from? Leave Mary a comment and let me know. Mary reads every single comment. Now let's begin with preparing the ingredients. In front of Mary is some leftover bread. You can use day-old bread, or slightly dry bread is even better, because it absorbs the egg and milk mixture very quickly without becoming mushy. I weigh about 120 grams, which is usually around half a loaf depending on the type of bread you buy. If you don't have a scale, that's totally fine. Just estimate about a handful, enough to make a small pan for 1 to 2 people. Now I'm going to tear the bread into small pieces. What size should you tear them? Mary usually tears pieces about 2 to 3 centimeters, just enough so that when eating, you can still feel real bread pieces, not crumbs like powder. Do you prefer bigger pieces or slightly smaller ones? Comment and let Mary know, because every household has its own style. Alright, the bread is torn and ready, I'll set it aside for now. Next is making the egg and milk sauce. This is the part that determines whether the dish turns out soft or dry, fragrant or bland. Mary adds 2 eggs into a bowl. After cracking the eggs, I add 200 milliliters of milk. I use 200 milliliters so the mixture is just enough to soak into the bread, and when pan-fried it will bind together firmly without being too runny. Now I season with just a small pinch of salt. Let me repeat that once more to be sure. Later we will sprinkle cheese on top, so we don't want to season it too salty from the beginning. Then I sprinkle in some black pepper for aroma. If you like a stronger pepper flavor, you can add a little more, but if someone in your home doesn't like spicy or pungent flavors, a moderate amount is already delicious. Next is for color and fragrance. I add red chili powder. You can use red chili powder or paprika, whichever you have. I gently stir once and you'll see the yellow of the eggs begin to turn into a beautiful golden orange color that looks very appetizing. Now for the herbs, I add 1 bunch of finely chopped dill into the bowl. At this moment, the fragrance really pops immediately, and it pairs wonderfully with eggs and bread. Then I add 5 tablespoons of oil. It may sound like a lot, but the oil helps the mixture stay smooth. When pan-fried the bread will have a nice glossy finish, and it won't taste dry. Don't worry, we'll still cook on low heat, so the dish won't feel greasy like deep-fried food. Alright, now I whisk everything thoroughly so the eggs, milk, seasoning, and dill are completely combined. Stir until the mixture looks smooth and evenly colored, with no streaks of separated egg remaining. That's perfect. Have you subscribed to my channel yet? If not, please give me a subscribe. Thank you so much. Alright, at this point I will pour the egg and milk mixture over the torn bread. I pour it slowly, and as I pour, I gently mix so the bread absorbs evenly without becoming too crushed. Look here, the bread is starting to soften but still keeps its shape. That's perfect. Now Mary will let it rest for about 2 to 3 minutes so the bread can fully absorb. This is a small but extremely important tip. If it absorbs enough, then when frying, the inside will be soft and delicious, not dry. While we're waiting, let me ask you something. Does your house often have leftover bread, or do you always finish it all? Alright, the mixture is ready. Now let's move to the stove. Mary will place the pan on and brush a thin layer of oil for non-stick. When the pan is moderately hot, I pour in all of the mixed bread and spread it evenly so the surface is a little flat. This helps it cook evenly and develop a beautiful color. And most importantly, I will cover it with a lid and keep the heat low, letting it cook slowly. Think of it like we're baking a cake right in the pan. I cook it for about 8 to 10 minutes, until the bottom is golden brown and fragrant. After covering and cooking on low heat for about 8 to 10 minutes, now I will check the bottom. You'll see the edges starting to set, and when I gently slide a spatula underneath and feel that the cake has held its shape more firmly, that means it's ready to flip. Before flipping, Mary opens the lid for 1 to 2 minutes to let the top firm up slightly. This tip helps prevent the cake from breaking when turning it over. Now it's time to flip. Do it together with Mary. I place a flat plate, or a large flat lid, over the pan, then hold it firmly and carefully invert the pan so the cake rests neatly on the plate. Don't rush, move slowly and safely. Now that the cake is on the plate, I brush another thin layer of oil into the pan for non-stick, then slide the cake back into the pan so the uncooked side faces down. Now I continue frying on low heat for about 5 to 7 minutes until the other side becomes golden brown and fragrant. You'll clearly smell the aroma of egg bread rising, and at this point the cake will feel firm, beautiful, and evenly golden on both sides. When both sides are golden, only then do I sprinkle mozzarella or cheddar on top. Mozzarella gives you beautiful cheese pulls, while cheddar has a richer, more creamy and bold flavor. Which one do you prefer? If it were Mary, I'd usually mix, but today let's just choose one to keep it simple. Sprinkle it evenly across the surface so every slice has a little bit, that way, when you cut it, every piece feels satisfying. After sprinkling, I cover the pan again and keep the heat low. I cook for another 8 to 10 minutes. At this stage, the goal is to let the cheese melt completely and allow the cake to cook through inside. You'll see the cheese start to soften, then melt smoothly, and the aroma rising is incredibly hunger-inducing. Alright, time's up. I open the lid. Oh wow, look at that. The cheese has melted beautifully. Now I do one final check. If the overall cake is golden brown, the cheese is evenly melted, and when I slide the spatula underneath it feels firm and not soft or soggy, then it's ready to come out. Now I turn off the heat and gently transfer it onto a plate. If you want it to look even nicer, you can sprinkle a little parsley on top for fragrance and a fresh appearance. But honestly, just looking at this layer of melted cheese is already tempting enough. This dish is best enjoyed hot. When it's still warm, you'll feel the bottom slightly crispy and golden, the inside soft and fragrant from the bread soaked in egg and milk, and on top the rich, melted cheese. Honestly, it's delicious in a way that's simple but deeply satisfying. If you try this recipe, remember to come back and tell Mary, did you use mozzarella or cheddar, and do you think this dish suits breakfast or dinner better? Don't forget to like, subscribe to Mary Home, and turn on the bell so Mary can keep making more delicious dishes from simple ingredients like this for you. Enjoy your meal.